Welcome, everybody, to episode 17, who would have thought, of Random Encounter. I am your host, Robert Steinman, Pale Robbie on the boards. Joining me today, we have, fresh from Japan,
Stephen Meyerink, I'm Taylor on the boards.
All right, we have the newsman.
Zack, Pintchik, super flat on the boards.
And, of course, the man who is out to destroy my immortal soul.
This is John McCarroll, and this is episode Lubomir Visnovsky, because he's number 17.
Did you really just make a Ducks reference in the middle?
Yes, I did.
If you get to do that, then I get to sing "Here We Go, Steelers, Here We Go."
No,
you don't.
Oh, God, bunch of nerds don't like football. No,
we just don't like the Steelers.
How can you not like the Steelers?
Because they are incredibly lame.
They're just too good with their 6 Super Bowls. And
they all like me more, Rob. Everyone else likes me more.
Shut up, Jets fan. Okay, so this week we have games to talk about as usual. That seems to be the running theme on the podcast. And then we have a very long news section to talk about. Of course, we're going to be talking about the next idiotically named Kingdom Hearts game, as well as a sequel to a Final Fantasy game that nobody wanted.
You know what? Just because... All right.
Dude, it's called Dream Drop Distance. What the hell?
I think we can get into this towards the end.
Yeah, we'll get into this later, young man, and I will school you.
I love that series, but yes, that title, I can't curse. That title is ridiculous.
All right, but 358 over 2 days, that was okay.
Look, here's the thing.
It wasn't amazing.
This happened at the beginning. This is a quick aside, then we'll actually get into it. Everything that came out when the DS originally launched was like Resident Evil, Deadly Silence.
Yeah, I know. Okay, all right. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So, who wants to get cracking with games?
Ooh, me.
John, go for it.
Okay, I'm playing Monster Hunt Lord of Arcana.
What?
Sorry.
What?
I got confused there. No, Square Enix was nice enough to send me a pre-release copy of Lord of Arcana, and so I'm busting through that, so hopefully we can have a review this Tuesday. And it is a game that is very clearly in the vein of Monster Hunter. Now, to be fair, the genre didn't start with Monster Hunter. You know, there have been games that have had loot hunting with, item crafting and all of that sort of thing for ever and ever and ever. It's not a new concept. But
Monster Hunter made it stupidly popular.
Yeah, Monster Hunter made it incredibly popular in Japan, and there's a style of Monster Hunter where it's okay, this is an action RPG, you're looking at segmented things on the map, you're hunting for specific items to make specific equipment. And that's what Lord of Arcana is, except Lord of Arcana has experience points, weapon proficiency, and the sort of things that make Monster Hunter not an RPG because it lacks that sort of element.
Do we cover Monster Hunter on the website?
We don't. No, we don't. It was for those of you who don't know, there is a big thread on our editor forums that says borderline RPG list. So every time that someone complains, oh, you covered this, it's not an RPG, or why don't you cover this, it is an RPG, I guarantee that we've discussed it because we discuss covering all sorts of games.
Yep. Didn't I put it? I still have a thread in there about whether or not we're going to cover L.A. Noire since it's kind of a graphic adventure. I'm sorry, we cover Ace Attorney games, don't we?
Here's the thing. No. L.A. Noire is going to be a shooter.
I doubt there's going to be very many shooter elements in that game. Not to get sidetracked, but I really doubt it. I think that game is going to be based around the investigations with a little bit of third-person shooting.
Yeah. What's funny is, and we've gone over this over and over in editorials and everything, there's really no way to say, this is an RPG because so many games have experience systems and everything that, in-depth stories and dialogue trees and the sort of things that, you would call RPG elements, things that make an RPG. And at this point, we have two things that I personally based on, and that is the game advertised as an RPG, and does the game have an RPG feel? And I know that there's nothing scientific about it, but that's
yeah. No, I agree. I'm just busting balls. That's all I'm doing.
But so Lord of Arcana feels a lot like Monster Hunter. For anyone who hasn't played Monster Hunter, you're going out, you're killing monsters, you're getting stuff off of their corpses, and you're using it to build better stuff so that you can go out, kill better monsters and use the better monsters parts to make your new equipment, etc., etc.
I'm actually kind of curious because I played it at the Tokyo Game Show, and you know those little death sequence, like those death animations. I can't remember. I think it's like an instant death attack or something you can do.
Oh, I forget what they call it. I've got the instruction booklet here. 1 second. But continue.
Are those as horribly repetitive as they were in the Tokyo Game Show demo?
Yes.
Because I think I would have to say a good 15% of the time I spent playing that game was just watching that same canned death animation over and over again.
Yeah, so what it is you get that, I'm not seeing the name of it here in the instruction booklet. A coup de grace is what they call it in the American version. Oh! Ducks just gave up a goal with 10 seconds left.
John, focus!
Coup de grace. So if there's an enemy type, you will have a coup de grace, and it's the same animation every time, and it's kind of annoying. I like the quick time things when you fight a boss, and you have the death animations, and you have to go through what you do in God of War, Shenmue, any game that has kind of QTE stuff, you have to hit the right buttons. That's cool. The overall combat it's okay. I mean, it feels like it's straight out of Monster Hunter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I look at the GameFAQs forums about this, and people are like, "Oh, this is nothing at all like Monster Hunter." You know what? It's clear to me that the game was designed to hit that same demographic in Japan. It was that, okay, Monster Hunter is popular among adolescent boys, and it's popular for these reasons. Let's hit these reasons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, of course. I mean, if something's selling that ridiculously well, I mean, you can't blame people for doing that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, no.
You can't blame them.
I mean, when I was in Japan, I think I said it before, on the train, everybody's playing Monster Hunter or Pokemon. Everybody. Like, old men, young women, kids, adults, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, how can you blame a company? I we'll make fun of Kingdom Hearts later, but I don't blame Square for making a bunch of Kingdom Hearts games because you know what? People keep buying the bloody things. I mean, if I don't blame them for doing that. Now we can get into conversation on stagnation and that sort of thing, but I mean, if they're selling, why do we all think why did it just come out that there's going to be a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 next year? Because the last one made a boatload of money. It's the number one game for the whole year, Black Ops, and it doubled the number 2 game. I mean, for God's sake.
And it only came out in November.
Good God. I mean, of course. So Monster Hunter sells a bajillion units, and we're supposed to act surprised when other people start using the Monster Hunter formula. I mean, it's no surprise that Final Fantasy Agito, now Type 0, is going to be a Monster Hunter clone, or whatever the hell it is.
I have to...
Whatever.
I have to admit, with Lord of Arcana, though, it sounded kind of cool because apparently, the designs and all the art and stuff are designed by, like 6 or 7 different artists or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it sounded like they really dumped some effort into it.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm in Chapter 4 now, so I have to do a lot of grinding this weekend so that I can finish the game. But the designs are cool for the bosses, but the game does not strike me as being incredibly impressive visually. It's competent. There's nothing wrong with things. But the whole, one of these was designed by Todd McFarlane. It's like,
What's the platform again?
PSP.
Oh, okay.
I actually noticed that too because I wrote a preview of it from TGS, and I noticed the same thing. After playing Dissidia and Crisis Core and Birth by Sleep, it's clear they could have done much better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I like the game. It's fun. And if you like Monster Hunter or you like, even Diablo or any kind of grindy game.
Diablo?
What? Diablo?
What? Where?
Wizard?
You can't be a necromancer, but
still the greatest character class ever in a video game.
Necromancer and Diablo.
I don't know. You can be a farmer in Etrian Odyssey.
Ooh, farmer. Okay, am I like the farmer from the Dungeon Seed movie?
No, like the farmer that dies in one hit against everything but can gather lots of minerals. I have a whole team of farmers in Etrian Odyssey 3 named after Scrubs characters. I have Dr. Cox, Dr. Dorian.
That's pretty good. So is that it on Lord of Arcana?
Yeah, I mean,
John,
our review should be up probably by the time this podcast is live. If you like Monster Hunter and you like RPGs, you're going to like this. It's a competent game. It's entertaining. Just don't expect anything amazing or anything greatly different from Monster Hunter. Like I said, there are some people who are just like, oh, this isn't like Monster Hunter. It really is.
Do they offer the same co-op and everything like that?
Yeah, no, there's co-op missions. And actually, one of the things that is really cool about the game that I will put in at the end, the game, the UMD, allows you to install a demo onto your memory stick. And you can actually play multiplayer with people who have the demo if you have the full version of the game.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you want to try out with your friends, you're like, oh, no. So I might actually install this on Kimberly's memory stick and, play a multiplayer mission or two just to see what it's like.
Yes, I like games that do that. I know Left 4 Dead, the demo for Left 4 Dead 2, you could play it multiplayer, and I know that kind of changed a lot of people's attitudes. And I think that's a good thing to do when you're talking about a multiplayer, a game that's focused on multiplayer. I think you really should have a demo to at least give players a feeling for it.
Who remembers the spawn for StarCraft 1 so you could play on a LAN?
I do remember, yeah.
Not me. I didn't play enough.
No, so literally, you could have one copy of the game, and you could install what was called a spawn on another computer, and it would just allow you. It was essentially the multiplayer client. You couldn't host a game, you couldn't do anything, but you could join a multiplayer game.
Oh, that's cool.
Hey, only on a LAN. You couldn't go online. But
and now LAN support is gone. We've come full circle. So I know, Steven, you have older stuff to talk about. Can we maybe hold off on you so that will lead directly into the news section, since you're going to talk about crappy Final Fantasy games?
No.
Can we just hold off on you?
Yeah, we can hold off on me.
Okay. Do you guys mind if I go real quick? Because
no.
I got something that just came out the past week, which is
That's fascinating.
Shut up. I just got Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, and I actually got through the whole game in about 4 days. So for those that don't know, Ghost Trick is for the Nintendo DS. It's from the makers of the Ace Attorney games, and you're playing a dead guy. And as a dead guy, you have a ghost. You are a ghost, and you perform tricks, hence the name Ghost Trick. And yes,
you just blew my mind.
I know, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's almost like just dreaming a drop distance.
Oh, shut up. So what you do is you solve these kind of Rube Goldberg-esque puzzles by inhabiting inanimate objects on the screen. Like you could inhabit a tire, for example, and make it roll down the hill, and maybe that opens up a new pathway for you to go from one object to another. No, I'm not. What?
No,
what?
It just reminds me of the old penny arcade about the game Geist.
Yes. Like totally possessing the dog and whatnot.
I got food to scare the dog.
Yes. It's very similar to that. And one thing that really stands out about this game is the awesome animation. It's using that rotoscope animation that's in like Prince of Persia and the Sega Genesis game Flashback. And that just –
sweet.
What's that?
Sorry, I was just saying Flashback was sweet.
Yeah, and that animation looks so cool on a DS screen. It's nice and fluid. It really gives the game a good deal of personality. I really have a love-hate relationship with Ghost Trick. Like I said, I finished it. And on the one hand, I think there's absolutely brilliant parts in the game where you really feel like you're getting somewhere. You have to open up your pathway because you can only move between objects that are fairly close together. But at times, the game really falls into standard adventure game trial and error, especially during sequences where you're trying to prevent someone from dying. You travel back into 4 minutes before the person dies, and you have to go about a specific sequence of events to prevent that person from dying. And this sequence is completely linear. It's completely laid out. There, you have to do it in a certain order, or you fail. At these points, since you're dealing with adventure game logic and the game doesn't make logical sense sometimes, you really can get stuck and very frustrated. At one point in the game, you have to swap a bullet with, I think it's a hat. You swap a bullet with like a
What?
with like a winter hat, and the winter hat hits a person and simulates them dying, but they don't actually die. And there's just silly stuff like that going on in the game where I'm staring at the DS screen going, the only reason I got this is just from trial and error. So I know Kim's on review for it, and I'll be really interested to see what she thinks about it, just because there's moments of absolute brilliance in this game, and I really like the storytelling. The ending to the game really warmed my cold, dead heart. There's certain things that if you tug on certain heartstrings, certain aspects, they'll make me emotional, and this game actually hit one of those chords, and it was kind of cool. And I was really happy the way everything comes together. It's a well-told story. So I was playing the game for the story. The actual gameplay was very frustrating at times.
Yeah, I have a question for you about that. One of the things that Kimberly said frustrated her is that a lot of the puzzles apparently are timing-based.
Yeah. Yep. And one of the worst puzzles is actually early in the game. So what John and Kim mean with this timing base is like at one point in the scenario, like say when someone's about ready to die, they'll like knock a lamp over or like toss their pen up in the air. And at that specific moment, you have to go from one object to another, or you have to perform a specific action. And if you miss it, you have to restart the whole encounter over again. Now, the game does a pretty good job of telling you. The main character, Sissel, will say things like, if you click on his internal monologue, he'll say things like, oh, maybe I should retry that. So the game does kind of tell you, like, hey, you screwed up, try again. But all that means is that, okay, well, now I'm going to try this other random thing. And there's times when things just don't make sense. Like, how was I supposed to know that a basketball could be caught by an umbrella? Like, I didn't understand that was going to happen. I just started flicking and doing random things, and it worked. So I really like Ghost Trick. I think what would fix it, they space out some nice save points as you're going through, like, say, saving someone from dying, so that you don't have to replay the entire section. But what the game desperately needed was like a 1-move or 2-move rewind option, or kind of like in Little Big Planet, how you can rewind like all the way back, so that if you missed something, you could just rewind it real quick instead of having to start the whole encounter over again. So it's a good game. I would definitely say that if you're a fan of the Ace Attorney games, or if you like those old school adventure games like Flashback, I think you'll like it, but just be ready to maybe go to an FAQ every once in a while if you get really stuck. Once you start dealing with the game's internal logic of, just try random crap until it works, you can pretty much get through it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean...
what's better, that or 999?
Oh, 999's much better. Because 999 you can never screw up. Like, that's the thing. 999 is so much more relaxing because there's never anything timed. So it creates this scenario of just like, oh, it's nice and relaxing. I don't feel like the game is pressuring me to do anything. Even as the room fills with,
water.
With deadly water. You're
you have time to sit there and think about the man you saw. Like, man, I saw a guy, and I think he was bad.
I think he was bad. He was wearing a gas mask.
Oh crap! The water's filling the room, but he was wearing a gas mask.
Yeah, he was wearing a gas mask.
I was wearing a gas mask. What was happening to me? Why do I look so sick?
I do think Ghost Trick is a really cool game, and I think it's a good direction for the Ace Attorney guys, just because it seems like they've been turning an Ace Attorney game out like every year. So this is a cool game, something different.
Here's the thing: you say that they've been turning out a game every year. The first 3 Ace Attorney games, you're probably not aware of this, were not for DS.
Yeah, I know they were for Game Boy Advance. I'm well aware.
Yeah, so I mean, objection.
Yeah, you can yell objection on the DS versions.
But
how do you do it on the Game Boy?
Yeah, how are you supposed to do it?
Yeah, remember when we used to do those to play video games?
Did I mention that Ace Attorney Investigations really doesn't like my voice because I kept trying to do the objection thing and it would only register
it's not great. Though hearing that and looking at my Kinect, that would be awesome.
So you could actually point and everything.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Do the side profile point.
Oh, I object!
Objection! There's one really cool character in Ghost Trick, the Inspector, and like he dances onto the scene and does like a Michael Jackson like spin move with like leg kick and head tilt, and it looks so cool in that rotoscope animation. Like I wish they could go back and program that into Prince of Persia. I think that would have been kind of cool. I like it. I think a lot of people are giving Ghost Trick, like some of the review scores out there have been like 9s and 10s and stuff, and I think that's a little high just from the absolute trial and error nature of it. But I know Game Informer like gave it a 6, and I think that's way too low. But
it's been real, like people have been like, this is awesome or meh.
Yeah, but I think the story's really good. It is a little cliched at times, and you can kind of see where it's going, but still, the game warmed my cold, dead heart. So
I'd be interested to see what you think of Phoenix Wright, the original, the Ace Attorney. Did you get that copy?
Yeah, I got the original Ace Attorney, so I can start playing it. But as I said during the pre-show warm-up, I'm probably going to take a little week break from RPGs. I'm kind of like RPG/adventure gamed out right now. I think if I played an Ace Attorney game, I would snap my DS in half if I got stuck. So I think this week's going to be a Dead Space 2 week of just killing necromorphs and being scared. I need something.
And then we're going to play multiplayer.
No, we're not. No one's going to play that multiplayer. Good lord.
We are.
Don't you have Left 4 Dead 2? Why have I not killed you in this game yet?
Actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah, see? There we go.
All right, Matt.
Sorry.
All right, we're getting off topic.
Sorry.
If you're going to get off topic, I'm going to say that the Ducks won. Woo!
Shut up.
If we're going to get off topic, we're all going to be screwed when Diablo 3 comes out because we're not going to be able to podcast unless we're doing it while I play that game.
Yeah, they'll be like, where's the host? And where's Steven? They're gone.
Like, they're PKing noobs, LOL.
Lols. No, I actually won't player kill. And
all right.
Okay, anywho. But to answer Zach's question, I probably will play some of the original Ace Attorney. Am I going to like it, or am I going to find it very frustrating?
I think it'll be a bit closer, I think, to 999 in the puzzle-solving segments. At least it seems compared to how it's handled in Ghost Trick, because there's a lot more, it's broken up into find the evidence in this crime scene or talk to these people to, to get this information.
Yeah.
None of it's timing based.
And all of that works out very well, but in Ace Attorney Investigations in the Miles Edgeworth game, there were times where I had 37 pieces of knowledge, and Miles Edgeworth is and I have that one important piece right here, and I'm looking at the screen going, dude, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Here's the thing.
Great.
It gets like that towards the end of missions 4 and a little bit in 3. 5 is actually a mission that's unrelated to the previous 4. And you also get some instances at the ends of missions 3 and 4 where it's I'm missing something. In which of these 12 locations is it in? It can get a little frustrating.
Game FAQs. I'm gonna have that website open on my computer.
But here's the thing. I really do think that you're going to enjoy the game because I think by far it is the most charming of any adventure game that I've ever played.
Oh, cool. Now, I think I'll play a little bit of that to break up Dead Space. I'm not going to play Dead Space except when it's at night. I'm one of those people that when I play a horror game, I turn out all the lights. I want to be completely immersed in the game to the point where I was playing the demo for Dead Space 2 and my cat jumped on me and I literally rocketed 8 feet in the air. I swear to God, the little jerk was sitting at the bottom of the couch just going, wait for it. Now!
You should play Amnesia. They have invisible water monsters.
My God.
Did I talk about Amnesia on the show?
I don't think you did.
Real quick, because Steven and I talked about it over Steam. That game is really awesome, but good lord, the blur effect. I actually started to get a headache playing that game. That is the first time in my life that a game made me feel physically nauseous.
Fight Night Round 3
success.
for PS3.
But Steven's kind of right because the whole point of the game is that you actually do develop a headache as you stand in the darkness for a long time. But I need to
Your character does.
Yeah, I need to go in and turn those blur features and crap off because I literally thought I was going to totally chunder playing that game, and that has never happened to me playing a video game. I don't get motion sickness, I never get disoriented, and this game I was like, oh my God, I'm going to throw up. I don't know. I think the blurry animation really, really got to me. I suffer from migraines on occasion, and that it almost kicked in a migraine on me. Yeah. So, I don't know. So that's all I've been playing is Ghost Trick. Maybe I'll talk about a little bit of Phoenix Wright next time we record. So, moving on to Zach.
I've been playing some old games. I know Steven's been playing some old games, but I've also been playing
crappy games.
Yeah.
But I'm being discriminated against because Rob doesn't like the games I'm playing.
It's cool. Don't worry about it. He hates one of them. I'll talk about the one he likes first, though. I've been playing. I just started playing actually Dragon Age Origins. Finally.
Yay! And you're playing the correct version of it, right?
Yeah, I'm playing the PC version.
There you go.
I just Like I've been meaning, I bought it in, October when it came out in 2009, and it just never really, like, I never either had the time because of school to like sit down, or I have a really bad habit of restarting characters when you have more than like 3 options when you're creating, like race or gender or whatever. So I finally sat down, managed to get through the human noble origin as a rogue. And I played through, let's say, the first 3 or so hours, and it's really good. Like there was a little bit at the beginning where, before you get, a full party, and it didn't seem like it was quite coming together right. You only had like 2 people, 3 people. You didn't have any mages. Mm-hmm. Once you get your first mage, which is just, some generic character who's like a circle mage, in the Tower of Ishar, which is somewhere in Ostagar, whatever. Once you have that kind of tactical maneuverability where you have a legitimate damage dealer that isn't my one rogue, it really starts to come together. And now I have my full party of Dog, Alistair, and Morgan. Yeah, I named my dog Pseudo or Sudo.
Nice.
I named him Bark.
I gotta ask, because this is the part where, like, I wrote in my review of Dragon Age that the beginning part of the game, like the origin story, is fairly easy, and then all of a sudden the training wheels on that game come off, and the game's like, hey, guess what? F you, you're gonna die. And like the first time is when you go into that tower and you're on that bottom floor, and it's like you walk over a tripwire and then a mage like hits you with a fireball.
That happened to me.
How many times did you die on that part before you got it right?
Only once or twice. I read one big tip for anyone playing. I don't know if it's only on the PC version, but if you basically abuse the hold position command, which prevents or has your characters, like the rest of your party, moving around with you. So basically, you can run, like your one character, either the tank or whoever you want to do, in like to pull one guy. And then take care of him, like basically destroy him with your 4 party members, and then like pull another guy. And by the time I managed to do that, it was like the 1 mage left and like 3 archers, and by that point it was pretty made quick work of them. But I haven't had a chance to legitimately sit down and invest myself in any of the older Infinity Engine RPGs, or basically any serious computer style CRPG style role playing game, and so this is pretty much a first for me, and I've been really enjoying it more than I expected I would, especially now that I have that tactical viability with all of my characters.
The couple of things that I'll warn you about, and we've talked about it before, like the tactics screen is very similar to the Gambit system from Final Fantasy XII, and it doesn't work as well. Like, even if you make the game like, okay, the first option is supposed to be the thing that the character will always do, your tactics will break down very quickly, and if you're not pausing and assigning actions all the time, like the wheels come off the car very fast.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I've actually kind of started basically just going round by round almost.
Yeah, micromanage the crap out of your characters, and then be really careful with your tactic of pulling one character at a time, because the game does this really cheap thing only a couple times in the game, but it'll make you pull your hair out, where like you'll send in like your rogue or whatever to go pull an enemy, and then in the room that your other characters are in, suddenly like 10,000 zombies will spawn, and if you're like me and you keep your healing mage in the back line, that healing mage is suddenly screwed, and the game really does a piss poor job of telling you when that happens. So keep an eye on your map. There's only a few points in the game where it does that, but it does the old like, hey, I just investigated this room and now enemies are spawning from it. Isn't that awesome? It feels like you're playing Doom 3.
But either way, that's I've been really enjoying it so far. Unfortunately, I went away for the weekend. I like sat down Thursday night, like played 3.5 hours, and then Friday morning left for the weekend, and can't really drag my giant desktop around with me. So that's been on the back burner. But I've also been playing, and this is the one that Rob is less of a fan of, The World Ends With You, straight from 2007.
You don't like that? Oh, wow, I didn't know Rob didn't like that game too.
Yeah, no, and anything that Nomura is involved with, I think he doesn't.
Zippers and emo characters and horrible combat system. Yes, I hate them all.
I agree with Rob on the horrible combat system. Like it was needlessly complicated. I would have been happy with it if they just had the bottom screen combat.
So this is the one thing that I can kind of give my 2 cents on that people probably haven't heard before. It started off, as you said, needlessly complicated. At a certain point through Shiki's week, I bought an item that like turned her fighting diagram. Basically, for those of you who don't know, on the bottom screen, you control the main character, Neku, with like swiping and tapping motions on the touch screen. And then on the top screen, you control either with the D-pad or the face buttons, depending if you're lefty or righty. And you basically press your way through this like chain of commands that has like 2 different branches, and you can do different things. And you try to the complexities come where you try to there's like 3 symbols. And you try to like match them up to these cards on the top, which gives you like the option to do this special like joint attack. And so I found at some point, either on the second or third day, maybe this item that allows like it turned the shape of the grid thing into a lance, which basically meant that I pressed right a whole bunch or left, like pressed one direction, and then at like the last like 2 or 3, it would just be like either up, down, like up, right, or down, right. But honestly, the time that I was having the most fun is just like if I was just like hammering on one direction for the assist character and kind of lucking out with the matching cards was when I was really able to do the most damage. And I found the combat system getting progressively easier as I made my way through the first week. And then I don't know if it's how spoilery it is, but you get into a second week of this, this game in which the game is taking place. So now that I have this new assist character, let's say, halfway through the second week, now you have to like match numbers, and like you have to make sure that some numbers are higher than like a certain number or lower.
I didn't play this
and
game.
For some, like I don't have that same item that like changes the shape of the thing. So now it's back to being fairly difficult combat that I kind of have to pay attention to if I actually want, if I want it to work out in any way.
So my biggest problem with this game, not trying to, just cutting in for 1 second. My biggest problem with this game was I got about, I think maybe it was like day 4 or day 5, and I would die in combat, and then I would restart it, and I would do the exact same thing that I just did, and it's like I wouldn't even get hit. So there really didn't seem to be any feeling between it. It felt like pure luck. It honestly felt like Final Fantasy 13, where I really wasn't having much input on the combat, and it was just like, well, I'm going to either get really lucky and Hope is going to put all the shield spells and like shell and everything on me, or he's not going to do it fast enough and I'm going to die. And it was like either Neku is going to hit a bunch of characters with this object and everything's going to work out fine, or I'm dead. And I didn't feel in control.
What I found with that is, I remember when we were talking about it a while ago, one of the issues that you had was the imprecision of the touchscreen controls.
Yeah.
And that was something that I was struggling with at first as well. But then I kind of, after getting used to making like larger, more pronounced swipes, maybe it had to do with, like the size of the DSi XL screen. There's the kind of rhythm that, I set up with the pins where I have this one like ice spike.
Yeah, that was the only one. That was
swipe up, and then once you get like another one that's like, I have basically the ice spike, and then 2 pins right now in the middle that are like basically swipe on the enemy to like attack, and then there's one that's like tap on the enemy to attack. And so basically, I just cycle through. I'll swipe up, and then I'll swipe the enemy, and then I'll tap the enemy, you get into this kind of rhythm on the bottom screen, which like if you're able to keep up with that, then you can kind of go up to the top screen and be a little bit more precise with your controls there.
Yeah.
And, hopefully it'll kind of work out that, you can manage it. Although I will say that when isn't working, like when there is that one, like time when the enemies get into this like attack chain, you can easily get overwhelmed.
Yeah, the ice spike was the only thing that I could ever get to work consistently. Like, are you using a DSi XL?
I am.
Okay. I was thinking maybe that was my problem, but I could never get the horizontal slash. I could never feel like that was working. Like, I would have to do it 5 times to get it to work once. Now, that's mostly user error, but like I couldn't get it to work.
It's just kind of odd. Like, I don't really know, how to explain it, but there's like just a certain, I don't know if it's like smaller swipes that I do. Somehow it works. And
well, I can understand having. I played the game on a DS Lite, and because the larger screen, because the pixels are larger, you do need more. I could see how you would need more pronounced.
Yeah,
motions.
It depends. That's the thing is, like, some of my motions aren't really all that big. Like, it covers like a very, like a relatively small chunk of the screen. But on the other hand, it's I've managed to get through the game all right so far. So maybe it's just the manner in which we're swiping differently or whatever. But either way, like it's I can certainly say that like based on our experiences, it's a divisive game. But if it manages to click for you, I've found it pretty enjoyable so far. The plot has been. It seems like it's ramping up a little now. Neku has become much less of the emo, like punk 14 or 15-year-old or whatever he is.
I would have drowned that kid if he was.
It takes like he's still not great, and I don't know if I'm like halfway or a third of the way through the game, but somewhere around there. But I'm hoping for a little bit more progression soon.
This is interesting because like my biggest problem with Japanese games lately is that I cannot stand like 90% of the cast. But then when I play Mass Effect or Dragon Age or even Fallout, like I find myself really loving the characters. Like I love Alistair and Morgan, like just bantering in Dragon Age. Like I love those two characters. I love just listening to them.
I can't remember the healer's name, the old lady.
Oh, yeah, Wynn. She's cool.
She's hilarious with Alistair.
Oh, yeah, she's spiteful and whatnot. And Shale is just borderline, has you on the floor rolling.
The best thing I ever heard in that game, I was playing it, and I literally almost fell over laughing, is you're talking to Shale, and he's saying something about his personality, and you can say, there's a person in you, Shale, somewhere deep down inside. And Shale goes, if there is a person inside of me, it is because I ate him.
Yeah,
here's what I think in regards to that. I think that in Western RPGs, it's much more focused about the individual character, whereas in a lot of JRPGs, I see it as being less about the individual characters and more about the world.
Okay.
It seems like the characters are like a vehicle, like an archetypal vehicle to like propel the story through the world.
And maybe that's why I love Persona so much, is because that it's not about the world, it's about the characters and their experiences, and I find that to be much more enjoyable. I just feel like every Final Fantasy or TWEWY or any of these games that's come out that I can't stand, it's like we got 3 or 4 Shinjis in the damn game. Like Shinji from Neon Genesis. Just like, I'm sorry.
I'm really sad about everything.
If you're a 14-year-old kid and you get to drive like 100-story tall mech, wouldn't you just feel like the bee's knees? I would be walking into school and just feeling like the cock of the walk. Instead, Shinji's got to be a little whiny brat about it all the time. And why do we feel that every Japanese game... Nobody loves me. My father doesn't love me. Hey, screw your father. Just step on him with your giant mech.
Your dad's a D-bag. No one cares.
Your dad has something living in his hand. Just step on him. Good Lord, he reincarnated your mother somehow. Kill him.
I forgot how completely screwed that anime was.
Have you been watching the rebuild, though? The rebuild's actually really good.
It's pretty awesome.
They're fixing it.
I've been meaning to check it out, but
yeah, we only got
back to the
sorry
RPGs.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When I think of favorite characters in RPGs, most of them tend to come from Western style games.
Yeah.
I think of Minkskin Boo. I think of HK-47. I really like Michael Thornton from Alpha Protocol, even though I know a lot of people thought that the dialogue in that game was wonky.
I like Nolan North's character in Alpha Protocol.
I like Nolan North's character in Uncharted.
Does he have an half tuck, and he's also supposed to be Persian?
No, he is a homicidal maniac who
like
great pleasure in dipping people in battery acid and like pouring detergent down. Oh, it's if you're gonna play one game with Nolan North in it that isn't Uncharted, it should be Alpha Protocol.
Wait.
Alpha Protocol.
There are games that don't have Nolan North in them.
Yeah, right.
I guess, yeah.
Believe it or not, yeah.
I get so confused. Is Nathan Drake being held by Abstergo in Assassin's Creed? I don't know. I'm so confused. Okay, Zach. Without further ado, can we get to Steven and he can talk about his? We can talk about his awful games. Have you gotten the final movie in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix? The final,
No, I haven't.
The final movie
All right.
that looks cool, but then the rest of the game is kind of like meh.
All right, first of all, Birth by Sleep is an excellent game.
Okay, here we go.
Final Mix added not much to it, basically because it was just an excuse for them to reissue the American version and add like one or two things to it.
Quick question. Is it true that Leonard Nimoy plays the voice of Xehanort? Because if
Yes.
so, that is awesome.
Yes.
That
He
is
does
okay.
it.
That's
He
awesome.
does it
I would
with
honestly
Klomp.
play the game just to hear
No,
that.
I
He sells the character.
I was watching Kimberly play it. I'm like, that's Spock.
That is awesome. Like I really liked the final movie in Kingdom Hearts 2. Like watching those three knights like getting blasted all about like in a Dragon Ball Z fight. I really liked that.
That's Birth by Sleep. I mean, literally, that's the three characters you play as. That segment is in the game, and you play it.
Well, I don't
And
want to
it's
buy a PSP.
Awesome. Actually, Mark Hamill actually voices the good Keyblade Master too.
Oh,
which is pretty
cool.
awesome.
Interesting. So it's like Spock versus Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, it's pretty amusing.
Interesting. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but go.
That said, I guess since it just came out, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there is a new secret video, but it's not really like it doesn't really do much. It just basically teases another Kingdom Hearts game that isn't
Shocker.
Dream Drop Distance. It adds a new episode to the ending, which takes place after literally at the very end of the game. I watched the entire sequence on Justin TV. It adds nothing to the story, but it's cool if you're into the game, just because it adds some hard boss fights and kind of a toss to Kingdom Hearts 1. The music is unbelievably good, but I said that last time.
So Kimberly wants Birth by Sleep Final Mix Plus. She already owns the U.S. version of the game. Is it worth us shelling out the $70 to import it?
For me, it was just because I play these games like an idiot, and I beat the Japanese version and did everything. I beat the English version and did everything, and I intend on doing it again in Final Mix. Final Mix does not add a whole lot. It adds a couple of cutscenes. It adds a new episode to the end and some new optional bosses. I mean, if she really likes Birth by Sleep, it might be worth it. But for all intents and purposes, she's not going to be missing out on any story. You can watch the secret video on the internet, and it adds very little.
Okay.
But, I mean, the new secret bosses are in multiplayer, so that's fun. But like I said, it's more like Kingdom Hearts 1's Final Mix, which added like a boss fight and some cutscenes, and not Kingdom Hearts 2's Final Mix, which added literally like hours of content.
And another game.
Yeah.
I would say do not shell out the $70 for it. It's not worth it.
I'm kind of surprised that I guess I was expecting Birth by Sleep to come to PS2 with the Final Mix. I was kind of thinking that they would do that. I guess Square just likes leaving money on the table.
You mean the PS3? Because there's no way that there's ever going to be another PS2 RPG.
Why the hell not?
Because no, don't laugh. No major retailer is putting shelf space for PS2 anymore.
I still see
PS2.
True. I guess for new PS2 games. Okay, I can see that.
You go into GameStop and they have like one row of new PS2, and it's like Madden 11, FIFA 11, and the Backyardigans.
But do you think it would have done better if they were only going to release it in Japan? Do you think it would have been better to release it on PS2 than PSP? I don't know.
No.
I'm just asking.
No.
Here's the thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Snarl.
You go.
The PS2 is dead. Like there's I know it's sad. It's been 10 years. We're gonna get over it. But if they were going to re-release it on another platform, it would be it would be a PS3 release, and they'd probably give it the same kind of spit, polish, and shine that, when they did Ratchet and Clank from the PSP and put that on PS2. Same with the Jak and Daxter. But I don't see them spending the time to port that to PS2 because it wouldn't sell.
All right. I was just asking. I was interested. Okay, so Birth by Sleep Final Mix, not exactly necessary. All right, Steven, what else have you been playing?
All right, well, I played the demo for Dissidia 2, Dissidia Duodecim Prologus. So Square Enix is batting 1,000 this month with titles. But anyway, for people who like Dissidia, it's very similar. They basically added an assist character, some new levels, and some new characters. The demo is fun. It's just a ripoff because you have to pay for it. It's a $3 demo. They say it's a better deal because you get a story mode, which I beat in about 10 minutes, and you unlock. It's basically an unlock for DLC. You unlock Aerith in the full game.
She's alive?
In Dissidia, yes.
Oh.
So Sephiroth.
Good point. And all of the villains.
Just throw a phoenix down at her. She'll be all right.
Yeah. Death is always reversible except when it's not.
Except in a cutscene.
Except when we say it's not.
All right. So when is that coming out in America? Has it even been announced?
March
22nd.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be way later.
They added new characters, and in the demo, the only new characters that you can play as are Kain from Final Fantasy IV, which you heard someone typing earlier. That was actually me playing. Kain is a blast to play as. His moves are totally sweet because he uses his jump attack. So Kain has really good range. He can attack basically straight up, straight down, or kind of at an angle. And it's really fun to juggle people into the air and then fly up into the top of the screen and slam down on them.
Can I guess the other character? Because I don't know anything about Duodecim. I didn't like Dissidia.
Yes,
is it X-Death?
It is not. X-Death was already in the first one.
In tree form? Serious?
No, just regular. But in his super attack, he went into void mode, but he never turned into tree form, sadly. But his voice was hysterical because he would laugh and he'd be like, "Ho ho ho ho."
I want to fight a tree.
We've been through this, John. We can't have nice things.
We can't have nice things. We can have dream drop distance, which we'll get into. But the other character in the demo is Lightning, and she's pretty cool. I'm not really the demo character.
That's Rob's favorite character.
Yeah, actually, I found her to probably be the second least annoying character in that game.
Fine then.
Yeah, she's second least annoying in Dissidia as well.
Is it behind Vanille as your second?
Vanille made me uncomfortable. I was very nervous for people to hear me playing Final Fantasy 13 because they probably thought that I had an underage hooker stashed under my bed.
Oh my god! All right, we'll get into my third game. I'm playing Final Fantasy 13 and I've never beaten it. And I was playing it the other night and I was at the scene near the very beginning when you fight the bird thing and you have Saz, Hope, and Vanille with you. And she's running. I want to run and look around. And my girlfriend just looks at me and she goes, "What the hell are you playing?" And I was like, "Well, it's Final Fantasy, but yeah."
It sounds like tentacle porn.
So, is your favorite character the Chocobo that lives in Saz's hair?
Saz's hair? The Frocobo?
I didn't exactly like Saz as much as a lot of people.
No, I didn't ask you about Saz.
No, but I just found Saz to just be lame but not annoying, if that makes sense. He didn't outright offend me like every other character in that game.
He's not the hero.
See, I kind of like Saz. I mean, for once, he's an older Final Fantasy character who's actually, first of all, older and not, they don't call him old man and he's 26.
I do love how the Final Fantasy casts have gotten progressively younger as I've gotten older.
But I think Saz is actually kind of cool because he's totally just a normal human being and no one else in that team is a normal human being by any means.
Isn't he a normal human being that rides a Cadillac that is a actual Aeon?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he's basically a combination of Prince and Eddie Murphy.
So what's wrong with that?
Charlie Murphy.
Game. Blouse.
But anyway, because Rob hates all the games I'm playing, I'm also playing 999.
I love screw you. I love 999.
I'm enjoying it, but I'm not far enough that I want to discuss it. So next time we record, I'll probably have finished it and done everything.
Yeah, I love how Ryan Payton actually talked about 999 on Weekend Confirmed this week. I want to be like, hey, give some credit where credit's due. We've been talking about this for like a month now. You jerk.
Forever.
Yeah, you jerk. You Microsoft jerk.
I guess I've kind of been
love you, Ryan.
Gamer ADDing lately because what I've been playing most is the original Deus Ex.
Wait, what? I have been playing the original Deus Ex.
Did we all buy it on Steam sale?
Yeah, no, every one of us bought it on Steam sale.
The thing is, I may have purchased that like a year ago on Steam sale, as people do. But
just oops. I'm gonna play that during February. Like after I beat Dead Space 2 while I'm waiting for Dragon Age, I'm gonna play Deus Ex because I tried to play the absolutely atrocious emulated version on PlayStation 2 or the port.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh my god! Like that was like going to see The Godfather, but you were blind, and you're like.
They were like, we added some new content to it, and we broke the textures, graphics, gameplay, and performance.
I played it. It's the only game I've ever returned besides Street Fighter 4. It's the only game those are the two games that I've returned because I was just like, this is not cool.
Yeah, that's how I felt about Street Fighter 4. We won't get into that.
Yeah, we won't get into that.
But yeah, I played it back in high school and never got past the first segment, which is, I guess, New York. And I'd never been able to get into it. But now that I'm playing it now, I really think it's kind of ahead of its time. Like, very few games were that interactive and that open. Yeah, I think it's really held back by the technology that it was based on.
The interface got to me. Like, I bought it on Steam sale and I played through the tutorial. The interface is needlessly complicated, but the rest of the game is good.
Oh, well, yeah. It'll be interesting to play that and then play Human Revolution whenever the hell that comes out. So is that it for what we've been playing? Can we move on to news and talk about...
I want to add one thing really quick. This is probably a tease. No, it'll take like 2 seconds, Rob. I've been playing Venetica. And when I say I've been playing Venetica, I mean I got 45 minutes into the game, died, and realized that the game has no autosave feature.
Ouch. Isn't that the game that was developed by the guys who made Twisted Metal and it featured people with car hands that wore thongs? No, that was Kinetica, wasn't it?
What the hell is wrong with you?
Rob, no. Rob, that was Kinetica, and I know what that is.
Okay, so I didn't just make up a game.
I think Kinetica, they were playing, I think, in the background of a XXX movie, and I remember seeing that and being like that kid at the movie theater who's like, I know that video game.
But I just remember being strangely turned on because the cars had thongs, but I was also very disturbed by that.
All right, so actually, back to this RPG that actually exists. It's a German-developed game where you play as the daughter of death, and you have kind of control over that sort of thing. But even though when you can die once and you'll get resurrected because your father is death and he won't let you die, but you need spirit power. And so I died, and then I died again. And it's like game over, and I was like, "Oh, that sucks. Let me load my auto."
It does suck when a game doesn't autosave. That is like a giant kick in the nuts in this day and age. I can't stand that. What? What, the thong car? The thong car.
We need to add this to the show notes so people know why I just started laughing at it.
Speaking of autosave function, did you guys see what the hardcore mode of Dead Space 2 is going to be? Where you can only save like 3 times, and if you die, it sends you back to one of the 3 save points. Yeah. I really like that.
Here's
it's
the
like
thing.
Demon Souls.
No,
it just hates you.
Look, there's only one game that gets it right when it comes to doing a legitimate hardcore mode, and that's Steel Battalion for the original Xbox.
The game that erases your data if you die.
Yeah, if you die, we're going to erase your save.
Yeah, I remember Hideo Kojima talked about that one time, like making a game that would literally burst into flames if you died. I'm like, only Kojima would be able to get... And you know what? The fanboys would love it. They would be like, Kojima is so brilliant in taking my $60 from me and lighting it on fire. What a jerk. What a jerk. And didn't David Cage say that he only wanted you to play through Heavy Rain once?
Yeah.
Was that to make sure that you wouldn't realize the massive plot holes?
He wanted it to be an experience. You know, he wanted you to have that one experience of the game and to really just
I totally
take it in.
I totally see where he's
Jason.
coming from. Jason.
It kind of, I mean, on the one hand, it was to protect the plot holes, but on the other hand, like there is a certain magic to that game the first time you play through it and seeing what could happen.
It's like when you watch The Sixth Sense again, and you're like, oh, there's the cool things, and then you go, that doesn't make any sense.
Ouch. All right, let's talk about news.
News.
Hey, I hear they announced some kind of Final Fantasy game. Rob, what do you know about that?
I mean, if we're gonna get into those, I was gonna talk about the non-Final Fantasy.
Yeah, let's talk about non-Final Fantasy stuff first. We only got
non-Square Enix. Well, I guess this is Square Enix too, but Tactics Ogre European Limited Edition. So that PSP game with Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together, is coming to Europe. With 44-page art book, soundtrack, and a nice little box. And so that's coming out February 25th in Europe.
When is Radiant Historia coming out in America?
February 20.
Not soon enough.
February 20th.
I'm very interested in that. I might pick that up.
Have you been? We have a preview copy of the game, and actually one of our editors is working on it right now. And we have a preview that will be going up this week sometime. He loves it.
Yeah, the music is. I said this in the last podcast. Yeah, the music is just ridiculously good. And
do you have anybody on review for it?
Neil's got the preview review copy.
Damn it, Neil.
Yeah, so those are. It's coming out. What is it? What did I say? February 15th in America, and then 25th in UK and Europe. And so it doesn't seem like this is going to be a like regular and and then a separate special edition sort of deal. So, it's going to be kind of the Atlas Spoils style, you get this stuff on the first print run. So maybe this will come to America. We don't quite know.
Nah, probably not. But that's cool for Europe because Europe usually gets the shaft.
Keep going. More news. We got to get done fast.
More news. So Hero 32nd, which is the sequel to Half Minute Hero, has been delayed again. It's no longer coming out. Nah, not quite. No longer coming out February 10th. It's now to a more vague sometime in 2011, which could be before the end of the fiscal year, it could be after, but who knows? So that'll come out eventually. But there is we have a clip of the prologue on the site, so if you guys want to check that out. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Overclocked is coming out. So this is the one small tidbit of RPG news that came out of Nintendo's 3DS event in New York City. Atlas's Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Overclocked, which is basically a remake of the 2009 DS game Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor. It was announced in Famitsu at the beginning of January, and now is officially coming to America. And so it has an 8th day scenario, which is kind of like an extra day. I think it took place over the course of the week.
It took place over 7 days.
Yeah, so this is the day after scenario. It has a couple of new maps, new demons that you can summon, more difficulty levels, full voice acting, which should be interesting to see how they manage to localize that, or if they localize it, at all. And then it will be in 3D, because that's kind of nifty.
Wait. Games are in 3D on the 3DS?
You wouldn't have thought it, but the interesting thing is that if you'll recall, when it came out on the DS, most of the action happened on the bottom screen, and it was all touchscreen based when you're moving around the battlefield and stuff. And that hasn't changed, so most of it's not going to be in 3D. The information on the top screen will be in 3D. It's kind of, I don't know exactly what they're doing there. Maybe they'll have new.
Sounds stupid.
Dude, 3D text, it's going to be like word art in Microsoft Word.
I mean, granted, you can turn on 3D, but it's an odd way to go about. Yeah. Bringing a DS game to the 3DS.
It'll be interesting to see. I tried to get Alice to give us a comment on this because I was kind of skeptical, and they never responded to me, which makes me sad.
Keep moving. So
we have some details on Skyrim, Just a few. It's
pretty.
It is pretty.
It's real pretty.
The most the most recent or one of the most
Make him
recent
squeal.
episodes, or not episodes, issues of Game Informer
real
has,
pretty mouth.
slow down now. One of the most recent issues of Game Informer has some screenshots. There's one screenshot on RPG Fan that you can check out, and it does look pretty. They have their new engine has increased lighting distance and draw distance, so we shouldn't quite have the same issues when you had that basically cut off in Oblivion where you would see more than 50 miles or not even 2 or 3 miles ahead of you was just ugly. So that shouldn't be happening.
The question, does the new engine make the characters not look like mongoloids?
We've made that we've made that joke before.
I know, but you know what? It's true though.
Apparently they've reworked. I can't tell if it's a modified Gamebryo engine or a completely new engine because it looks like that's the thing is it looks a whole lot like a nicer, at least in the way they do the motion blur effects and everything, and the way the lighting looks. It looks like a nicer kind of Fallout style engine.
And Skyrim will be inhabited by close talkers who get 2 inches from your face and
they
stare
have
directly at you.
That's another one of the details. They have changed the dialogue.
I know. It's
more
good.
dynamic.
Right.
People can move around rooms, etc.
More news.
Square Enix. Yeah.
No, wait. One news story. This is my news story. 2 days. 2 freaking days after the Signature Edition is no longer available. Guess what show?
It was 1 day.
Guess what show? Yeah, it was 2 days. I'll give him credit. It was 2 days. Guess what showed up on Steam? Dragon Age 2. Minus all that content you could have bought if you bought it somewhere else. Have fun.
I've stated my opinion on this before. It's BioWare and EA doing business because with other download sites because Steam is the elephant in the room when it comes to digital download.
What a giant middle finger to Steam.
I mean, at the same time,
at least it's there. At least it's there. I'm still pissy about it, but hearing all the crap about
it's not available for my favorite direct download service, despite the fact that it's available in a bajillion other places for the same platform.
Screw you.
I mean, if you think about it, it really the whole. If you were to have that foreknowledge of this is not Dragon Age 2 Signature Edition is not coming out on Steam, and that is the only place that you can't get it. It is very clearly a their goal was to get people to try to buy it places other than Steam because
and that's why I didn't buy it. I was being loyal to Steam more than anything else.
So who do you like more, Steam or BioWare?
Steam.
That's not fair.
No, Steam a hell of a lot more after what you heard about Portal 2. The fact that if I buy it on PS3, I'm getting a free PC version of it.
Dude, that is crazy.
Awesome. That is all sorts of awesome.
So unfortunately, Steven has been lost. We don't know quite what happened to him.
Cut his mic.
Connection. We kicked him out. We hate him. It's no big deal. So we're talking about the Square Enix first production department premiere thing. That happened in Japan. Oh, hey, Steven's back.
Hi, Steven.
Hello. What a perfect time for me to get tapped out when I have to defend things from Rob's
we haven't talked about anything yet, so you're fine.
All right.
Oh, good.
So Square Enix had this big event. They showed a new trailer for Final Fantasy Versus 13, which looks super awesome.
Can we talk about that real quick? Just real quick?
Sure. It looks like Kingdom Hearts with suits. And
this was the funny part. I was the one who defended it. This is the really funny part. Because I said, wow, it kind of looks like the Kingdom Hearts game that I wanted after watching the final movie in Kingdom Hearts 1, where it was, really dark and kind of edgy. And, yes, there were zippers, but, I kind of liked it. And then I talked to Steven about this over Facebook, and Steven's like, well, the combat looks really repetitive and the textures look really bland, and I don't know how it's going to hold up. And I'm like, so you basically just described Kingdom Hearts.
I don't think I said the textures look bland, and the combat is repetitive Kingdom Hearts, but what I said was, I also said that, but it looks clunky. That video made it look really, really he had a 3-hit combo, and that was all he was doing.
All right.
It just, in Kingdom Hearts, when you hit stuff, it's satisfying. It was just
it's satisfying because stars and crap fly off of it.
Yeah, and things blow up, and you're like shooting lightning everywhere. That dude was like,
And the camera, you can't tell what's going on.
That's a wall.
Why am I staring at a wall? Why are Mickey and Donald dead?
Steven, you do have to consider though that all of that crazy business didn't really kick in until like a couple hours into the game once you started getting like more, like upgrade sets. And granted, like a trailer should show.
No, I agree.
Like
it just
silliness.
The vibe I got from that trailer was we haven't showed any gameplay from this game. People are getting sick of waiting for it. Let's just dump whatever we can find in there, and they could have done a better job.
Yeah, and also
Perhaps.
the game, on the one hand, it looks very cool. It looks different, but there's something in the back of my head that's like, you remember when you thought that Dirge of Cerberus looked good? Yeah, you need to keep remembering that, Rob. So I'm tempering my expectations a little bit.
Dirge of Cerberus was not that bad.
No, Dirge of Cerberus was pretty fun.
Oh yeah, and having Vaseline shoved into my eyeballs and having a hot woman kick me in the nuts. Yeah, that's not nearly as bad either.
I don't know what you do in your chair.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm not sure what happened there, but the analogy got kind of lost. Anywho, Dirge of Cerberus was that bad.
So anyway, so they announced that they have that trailer for Versus 13.
Probably going to come out I would say beginning of 2012.
In America or Japan?
Oh, Japan. America won't get it until summer of 2012.
Now, Square's gotten better with that. Square has gotten way better with that.
Yeah, I mean, Dissidia comes out, I think, this week.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, it'll be at least a 3-month layover. So
I don't even. Square's gotten better than that. They
3 months for Final Fantasy 12. 13. Sorry, 13. Yeah. 3 months.
Anyway.
That's not long. That's not terrible. But I don't think it's going to be 2011 because we know what the 2011 title is going to be, right, Zach?
We do.
Yay! Another linear corridor RPG.
Well, you don't know. So Final Fantasy 13 too. The second direct sequel has been announced.
Do you know what other game was linear and had corridors? 999.
Yeah.
I had a story and characters that I cared about because I couldn't hear them talking.
Bummer.
I made sure that, what was the big guy's name? Seven. I made sure that he sounded. He had the dulcet tones of oh God, who played Lando Calrissian? Billy D.
Williams.
Yeah, to me, Seven just sounded like Billy D. Williams.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but they have this interesting in 999 when, like, depending on the character who's speaking, the tone of the little beeps when like the text come up is different.
Yep. Okay.
Anyways, Final Fantasy 13 too. It's coming out. It's got I know. The director of Final Fantasy 13, who's Motomu Toriyama, is going to be he's directing this one. I don't know what you said, but so he's directing this.
He's still apologizing.
Rob, you should be excited for this.
He's not apologizing as much as the Final Fantasy 14 people are. So let's just
okay, that's fair.
Well, it's because 13 is a technically proficient finished game.
Yeah. Anyways, so 13.2, it says, so it's coming out 2011 for both the PS3 and the 360. It's going to be, and then, so that's just the Japanese release date. The American release date, or I guess, American and or European release date will be winter. So that could be, like January, February, even as late as early March if they consider it like that. But definitely before the end of the fiscal year. Go for it.
I'm kind of excited about that, just because, I guess I haven't finished 13 yet, so I don't see where the hate's coming from. But I think that's a chance for them to actually fix what was wrong, that people perceived was wrong with 13 and, like, get it right. Because 13 had that completely ridiculous development process where nobody knew what they were making for a good, 2/3 of the development time. So, I mean, this time they can say, okay, we know it needs to not be linear. We need to have more customization. We need to get rid of this ridiculously over-dramatic nonsense. We need to kill Vanille.
Or they could make Final Fantasy X-2, but with pretty graphics.
That would be awesome.
Didn't they say when Final Fantasy 13 came out that they cut out enough content to make another game?
I have the slightest feeling that a lot of that content's going to be in the game.
Don't get me wrong. What Steven is saying right now, where like they may make the game less linear, I would be there. I would want to play it. But to me, when I hear stuff like that, and the relatively short development time for a Final Fantasy game, the fact that how long did it take to make 13? Like 7 years.
Well, I mean, they now have the Crystallis or whatever engine.
Yeah, the white engine or whatever the hell it's called. I just don't see. I don't see it being anything. It's probably going to have more non-linear sections, but I still think it's going to be a linear game, which is fine. But just like, am I going to have to wait 24 hours? Again, remember, guys, my PS3 died. Even if I wanted to play Final Fantasy 13 again, I only got 8 hours into that game. I'm going to have to repeat those 8 hours all over again. Even if I wanted to play Final Fantasy 13 just to get to the good stuff, I don't want to.
Nice thing about the PS3 is you can take out the hard drive and put it in another PS3, so theoretically you wouldn't.
No, that doesn't work.
Yeah, no, 13 won't let you. 13.
It imprints. There's an imprinted code on the hard drive that only that hard drive will see. The new PlayStation 3 will pick up that hard drive and go, yeah, we're gonna have to wipe this. Yeah, it sucks. Trust me. Been there, done that, John.
But anyway, so there's a trailer that was that came out with the announcement in Japan. Now there's an English trailer also up on RPG Fan that you can check out.
I'd also like to point out that in that trailer, as per the Square Enix business credo at the moment, it's to show some sort of skin. So Lightning now has shorter shorts because that's what sells games.
Mm-hmm.
And some sweet armor though.
So yeah, she looks like Sophidia.
There's going to be dress spheres.
Oh, no.
Just for Rob.
I never played 10-2. All I know is I have an ex-girlfriend that dressed up like Una one time, and it looked really hot. Sorry, Taylor.
But anyway, so I mean, so Final Fantasy 13
good.
All right.
Sorry.
Final Fantasy 13-2 is not the most ridiculous name to come out of that event.
No. Not even close.
Kingdom Hearts 3D. The 3D now stands for Daffy Duck Dies.
Daffy Duck's a WB character.
Donald Duck Dies.
Detailing depraved. I got nothing.
That was pretty good.
Dinosaurs.
That was pretty good.
Dinosaurs doing...
Depraved dinosaurs doing dirty deeds.
Dastardly.
Can we call it what it actually is? It's called Dream Drop Distance.
Can I explain that, actually? And I'm not going to defend it.
Oh, my God. Are you going to explain Kingdom Hearts lore?
No. All right, there's no way to explain this. This is called... All right, we talked about this earlier. When the DS came out, they had Deadly Silence, or Resident Evil Deadly Silence, whatever. That's fine. But you know what? They said that the gimmick for the game is they want you to use the 3D so you can feel exhilaration when you're falling great distances. I think Square Enix needs to check what they're doing.
Yeah, I'd say that this should not have been the first thing to tip you off to that.
And they should have just left it. Oh no, I've been thinking this for a while. They should have just left it Kingdom Hearts 3D because Dream Drop Distance sounds ridiculous. They're attempting to keep people sold in this story, and it's getting harder and harder because they continually keep stretching it out with more and more retconning. But if you want to do that, you have to make it at least not embarrassing to want to follow it. Hey, what are you playing? Kingdom Hearts, Dream Drop Distance. Why is it called that? I don't know.
I don't know.
Because they figured this is going to be the worst trend for 3DS games, by the way, is throwing 3Ds into the... there's going to be so many titles that are just incomprehensible.
Yep.
Assassin's Creed, Deadly Doom and Deadliness.
Yeah, Castlevania Jitterbug of the Dead, or whatever the hell they're going to call it.
Dirge of the Dead.
Dirge of the Dramatic.
Dirge of Dracula's Deadness.
Yes! There we go. Koji, we just gave you one.
Please make it.
No.
Thanks, Yiga. All right, so we got one more Final Fantasy news story, and then we got to be out.
We do. So Final Fantasy Agito 13 is now Final Fantasy Type 0.
Okay, now I said earlier in the podcast that turned into a Monster Hunter clone. I think I was completely wrong in that. Wasn't it? It was originally a card battle game, and then what happened to it?
It's like Fantasy Star.
Well, it was originally a mobile game.
Yeah, it was originally a mobile card game, and then Square had 10 years to build the damn thing, and now it's
dude, I totally misunderstood you. I thought you said car battle game. I'm like, it was going to be like Twisted Metal?
That would be awesome.
You could play as Vanille.
So what is it now? Is it a Monster Hunter clone, or am I just having a fever dream over here.
It's like Phantasy Star Portable.
So in other words, not at all like Monster Hunter. Okay.
Actually,
very similar.
Yeah, Monster Hunter pretty much takes everything from Phantasy Star.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel better about myself. And it's now called what? Type 0?
Type 0. And so this is, this has kind of been foreshadowed by a series of domain names that they registered, that Square Enix registered earlier, either this year or late last year. And so, we're likely to get or I think it may have been copyrights or trademarks or something, but we're likely to get a Type 1 and a Type 2 and, so on. And it'll be interesting to see what, Square Enix intends to do with the, air quotes, type branding.
Whoopee. All right. I think, is that it for the news? Because we got to wrap this, John.
Yeah, just about.
All right. So, thank you to my esteemed colleagues here. I was almost going to call us the Three Amigos, and then I realized I could count. So thank you for John, Steven, Zach. This is Rob. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Again, be sure to go on to iTunes, download the show, give us ratings, keep going on the boards with things that we can talk about. I think we're going to have Kyle Miller back on when it's Dragon Age 2 time, so him and I can... We can argue about Dragon Age. Like, he'll probably play as a warrior. I'll probably play as a mage. I have no idea right now. So, and yeah, I think
we are going to work on guest stars. We really should do that. That was cool. That was
I tried. I sent an email to the Spoony one, and I never heard back. And I'm a little ticked off about that. So, probably like locked in his spam filter or something like that. Or he was like, random encounter. That sounds stupid. So. Anywho, so yeah, if you're a follower of the Spoony one, start harassing him to be on this show.
Don't do that.
Oh, all right. I'll call our 11 listeners off. Yes, our unholy army of the night. Okay, I think I'm done. I've made fun of Final Fantasy too much. So for everybody on the podcast, thanks again for listening, and we will see you all later.